I say, he can afford the whole thing. And that's no joke. There's been several articles in the Oakland press, you know, how the Detroit workers would get various cuts on their pensions. You know, a lot of these were basically people that worked at General Motors. A lot of people actually sniped at Snyder when he came out and says, you know what, we got to tax these pensions, that's actually income. I got some gratification out of that when Jennifer Granholm got a notice on that. And so did Engler, and so did Posthumous. But folks, as my dad would have said, you're basically shoveling crap against the tide. What we've got to do, when Dave came to me and asked me, what'd you do, what do you think we ought to do? Incredible question.
Never told you what we ought to do.
I told him you need to bankrupt. He said, oh, you can't. Yeah, I said, yes, you can. You can go under Article 9 of the bankruptcy code. You can actually bankrupt the state just like you can the city of Detroit. But one of the things I wanted to bring up is when I was in Detroit, I'm an environmental consultant. I go all over the country. And I'm just back in from Kansas, southeast Kansas. But I've worked a lot through the state of Michigan. I was at a job in Detroit doing it sometime back, 8-10 years ago, probably around 2004, 2005, somewhere in that vicinity. But I had to go to the fire department. I had to pull documentation because we have to find out whether or not there is Title III issues and just do some research on the site. The fire chief comes walking up to me. Can I help you? Yeah, and I kept looking out the window at Windsor. I says, I've never been in this building, but I can tell you right now, I've been here before. And he says, huh, that sounds odd. I says, I'm not kidding you. I said, I've been here before. And I kept staring at it, and all of a sudden I looked at him. I says, I know what it is. I'm looking across the river at St. Joe from Benton Harbor. I says, Canada looks better than it does here in the state of Michigan. And then I looked at him and I says, your state's done. Several years after that, Detroit bankrupts. The state is dying. We are dying. Now people say, well, no, we're doing great. I mean, you'll hear all kinds of frosting and petals and everything, flowers coming out of Lansing. But the bottom line is, folks, here's the brass tacks on it. Georgia, Norm Hughes actually did. Norm Hughes, he's with CPAC. They did a study on state spending, state expenditures, and stuff like that. I got a little bit of wind on this, so I'm not going to have all the specifics, but I did get some of the general specifics on this. They did a study on state expenditures, and they compared Michigan with the state of Georgia. Georgia has the same amount of I-75 running through it. It's got the same amount of population, probably the same amount of towns close, same amount of people. Similar, very similar state. But yet Georgia's expanding. I've gone through Atlanta, I've gone through the bypass here in the last year. They are growing. I mean, they even got Summit Racing down there, folks. I mean, that's heaven right there. But I'm going to tell you what, why are they expanding and we're not? Georgia's annual budget, according to Norm Hughes, was $18 billion a year. Michigan's, as Dave said, is $56 billion. We've lost, because of this overspending, overregulation, over mismanagement, because we want votes, vote me in for this pay. We've lost Willow Run, we've lost Wixom. These are major Ford General Motor plants. We've lost most of Flint. We've lost the Buick 29 plant. We've lost a lot of the Willow Run facilities that actually generated the B-29 bombers. That could have actually culminated into actual airplane manufacturing had we had a government in this state that was willing to say, no, we're going to take your pension if we tax that business. We're going to backdoor tax our way into basically your family's heritage. But instead, Governor Romney decided to do what he did. Here's what I want to do. I wanna get $500,000 up. Then it's game on. Once we get to that point, I wanna go forward and start attacking this head on, and I wanna do it fast. Now, a lot of people say, boy, you know what, is that prudent? I'll tell you what, if you're not fast, you're gonna get buried in money. I know who the Dutch Mafia is. They call them the Dutch Mafia in the Holland, Hudsonville, Granville, Grand Rapids region. And the state of Michigan doesn't have that much money. The main thing right now is we've got to come in and get the signatures and then get it to the Secretary of State office and get it on the ballot. And then I want to take this, get it, once it's voted in, bury this full-time legislature next to Mitt Romney under a concrete lid so it never rears its ugly head ever again. But it's going to take fortitude. Fortitude means we have to step up to the plate and take the bat and hit the ball. Now, I want to tell you how you can do that. I'm here, we've got some sites on our website I just had up. I hope I get this right. We've got our, that's our, right there.
By the way, that bridge never paid for itself. It was supposed to pay for itself in 10 years. You're still subsidizing the bridge. Snyder wanted to build another bridge. I prevented him from doing that for 2 years. The bridge he wants to build is going to cost $5 billion. You'll pay for it for the rest of your life. The existing bridge is only 40% of capacity. You don't need another bridge.
Yep, you can, we're actually this time, because of Amir's great work, we can actually donate by PayPal. One thing right here, and I'm circling it right there, you can actually do automatic withdrawal by monthly. $10 a month, $5 a month. You know what? You think, I don't know how I can afford that. Wait till you get the property tax increase that they just passed on the fuel. You guys haven't seen jack yet. I mean, right now, and I talked to Department of Treasury. I got a young lady up there who I work with, because I do on the side. Dave, I've actually done tax cases for him on his property taxes. And I've got friends up in high levels there in the Department of Treasury. They used to be with MDEQ. I work with them there on the 201 section, which is an environmental response, but I actually work with them quite a bit. They told me Proposal A has failed. They said right now, because of the amount of industrial-based loss we've had, that is what they were counting on to carry the state's budget through. It's not there anymore. You're next. Okay? It's already been tried. They tried to get into what's called the service tax. Realty service. Basically, your service, the wonderful meal we had tonight, they wanted to tax that. Jennifer Granholm wanted to do that. She wanted to tax me. You know, environmental service. Thank God Dave and his group of 110 stopped it. But we were that close from that happening. The only way you're going to stop this is to change the mindset and get that legislature back in the district on $35,000 a year. You can do this by going to our website. Murray's going to be over here. You can do one-time donations. You can do, year through. But he has done a wonderful job here in setting this up, and we're going to continue to build this thing. If you've got friends, you've got businesses that you do business with, say, hey, get involved here, man. Throw in $100, $200. Just throw it in there. Try to get, every time we build up $200, that's 200 signatures. We can buy it. We can still buy signatures for $1 yet from fairly reputable firms. $1 a signature. You can do this right on our website at parttimemi.com. And also on our Facebook, we have a donate page right here. Now, I can't access it because I'm actually plugged in, Amir says. But if I was actually outside of this, I could hit that donate, and that same window right here would pop up on PayPal, and you can do it by credit card and that. But the nice thing about this, folks, is we get the ball rolling. If we don't get this ball rolling, ultimately, and I project, as I did to this fire department in Detroit, about 10, 15 years down the road, that 1.5% you're getting on your property tax every year is going to build, because it doesn't build where I just add 5%, 5%. It builds on the value of the property, 100,000 times 1.5%. And then it culminates, oh, next year it's 110, 110 times 1.5%. You're gonna pay it. The old saying in the old commercial, you can pay now or later. It depends on how long you want to live in Michigan. So, I was going to show them one more chart here.
Okay. We're after 7. We don't want to keep you because we know you want to see the debate.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've already.
It starts at 9, right? Want to see if there's any shootings in Detroit tonight?
Here we go. Okay, folks, meet your legislators' pay that's in office today. Okay?
No, that's their aides.
No, they're in there. They're mixed up with the aides. But now Dave made a couple of points here about we've got a bunch of people in office that are making too much money. Well, let's see what they're doing. Right here, we have State Representative Chris Adulis. Affendulis. He's making $71,685 a year for 84 days of work.
Plus expenses.
That's, yeah, I didn't include the expenses,
Plus
but I'm
501.
including 401k. The 401k contribution, if they got a family of 2 or 3 under the law, which I also have here, they can go up as high as 15 to 20% on the contribution. Now, we're going to look at a couple of aids here. I'm going to have to just bounce my way down because my eyes are just, this is hurting my eyes. Right here, Mr. Greg Bensinger, Information Systems. He's our guy that does all of the
Computers?
sound system. Murray, you're in the wrong business, buddy. $98,556 for 84 days of work. Because he's only there when they're in office. Oh, did anybody talk about Hassan Badoun, who is Majority Legal Counsel? He's making $100,000 a year for 84 days work. My own lawyer doesn't make that kind of money, folks, in the private sector. He needs to get in there. You wonder why we need to change the mindset. I mean, here now you say we should only have 110 representatives, right?
Yeah.
Here's the whole list. Everybody that works in the legislature.
Every legislator has usually 2 aides, one on the front desk, one on the back desk. So you usually pay the front desker less, the back desker more. And then you got, what do you call it, the secretary that stands up there, there's a Republican and a Democrat, they're making like 130, 140 grand a year, standing up there in front of the.
I already got the number. It's over 20 billion.
20 billion?
It's over 20 billion with the entire staff. Yeah, not, I mean, when you look at just the representatives, it's about 2 to 3 billion. When you're looking at the whole business, it's a heck of a lot of money. The legislators, folks, you change the mindset, you change them. Now Dave's gonna come up here, we're gonna take a couple questions.
No question is a dumb question. Who's got a question? Somebody's got to have a question.
Who thinks I look like Dave?
He's my son.
Thanks, Dad.
Did you ask the question, how can we eliminate these pensions that we're paying for?
You already have. We voted those out, but his point was, when they became a full-time legislature, they put all this junk in for themselves.
Sure.
And then the people started complaining about all this, so when I was in there, we don't get that anymore. So they don't pay those pensions anymore. All we had is a 401k. So we got rid of all that stuff. But it's still on the books, so we're still paying for it all. So you can see that's how government increases the unfunded mandates you never see. That's why in the federal government, they all do this. They all get this. Huge sums of money are going out every month. And the guys have been gone forever.
John Engler, he receives $122,136 annually.
And the only way to stop that, that's what I was asking, is to bankrupt the state? Is that what you?
Well, I'd love to. Feds